Welcome to Sports Love Media on YouTube. It's your guy, Sports Love, broadcasting live on location at the Veterans Memorial Park in Huntsville, Alabama. Today, September 9th, 2025. Today, in this live stream, it is the top 25 college football picks for Week 3 games, which are September 8th through 14th of 2025, which will be my perspective. In this live stream, we will look at who is in the top 25 this week. We will look at the top 25 matchups. We will dig deeper within those top 25 matchups and look at what Vegas has to say regarding point spread or margin of victory, plus the over-under. The margin of victory is what Vegas thinks the winner in points wins by. Over-under is the total combined points Vegas believes both teams will score in the game in question. After we do this for the top 25 matchups, we will go into a segment called the Game of Intrigue. In this Game of Intrigue, neither team is ranked in the top 25. We will look to find things that are related to both schools. This can be sports related or not. After doing this on the relation thing, we will do like the normal top 25 process and go over what Vegas has to say on the margin of victory and the over-under. If I agree or disagree with what Vegas thinks, I will explain my reasoning. After this, we will go through a summary with no analysis, and we'll go over also who else is going to be playing in college football games this week. Can y'all hear me out there in YouTube land? All right, so in the Associated Press top 25 this week, you have number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Penn State, number 3, LSU, number 4, Oregon, number 5, Miami, number 6, Georgia, number 7, Texas, number 8, Notre Dame, number 9, Illinois, number 10, Florida State, number 11, South Carolina, number 12, Clemson, number 13, Oklahoma, number 14, Iowa State, number 15, Tennessee, number 16, Texas A&M, number 17, Ole Miss, number 18, South Florida, number 19, Alabama, number 20, Utah, number 21, Texas Tech, number 22, Indiana, 23 is Michigan, number 24 is Auburn, and number 25 is Missouri. In the top 25 matchups for the games September 8th through 14th, and that includes yesterday, but there were no games yesterday, so it's all good. But you have number 22, Indiana versus Indiana State. That game will be September 12th, 2025 on Friday. You have number 4, Oregon versus Northwestern. You have number 13, Oklahoma versus Temple. You have number 19, Alabama versus Wisconsin. Number 23, Michigan versus Central Michigan. Number 24, Auburn versus South Alabama. You have number 2, Penn State versus Villanova. Number 15, Tennessee versus number 6, Georgia. Number 21, Texas Tech versus Oregon State. Number 14, Iowa State versus Arkansas State. Number 25, Missouri versus Louisiana. Number 7, Texas versus UTEP. Number 5, Miami and Florida versus number 18, South Florida. Number 1, Ohio State versus Ohio University. Number 9, Illinois versus Western Michigan. Number 17, Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Number 3, LSU versus Florida. Number 8, Notre Dame versus number 16, Texas A&M. Number 11, South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. Number 20, Utah versus Wyoming. Number 13, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. And this week, number 10, Florida State is on a bye week, I believe. If I find later that they have a game, I'll just do a video that shows, goes over the stuff for them. But I don't have that information. So, anyway, now that we have looked at who is in the AP poll top 25 and the top 25 matchups, let's go for the fun part. First game this week to talk about will be number 22, Indiana versus Indiana State. This game will take place September 12th, 2025. Indiana State did decent in both offense and on defense. Put simply, it is average. Indiana State will be decent with their conference, but will have tough time playing Indiana. Indiana last week did stellar job on offense with good passing, both long and short. The offense also had a great run game. On defense, Indiana showed Kennesaw State who's the boss. The great offense and defense will do better than Indiana State. Indiana State plays up tempo and gets careless with how they play. Normally, this helps Indiana State in winning games, but not this one. Even though Indiana can put up points, they have patience and finesse and purpose in how they do things. Defense will be there for Indiana State, but will not be enough to overtake Indiana. No information is available on the margin of victory of the over-under on this game, so I'll make my own final score prediction. Final score, Indiana 48, Indiana State 17. Next game we're going to look at this week will be number 4, Oregon versus Northwestern. Northwestern is having a hard time keeping their offense and defense in sync. One week the offense downright sucks and defense doesn't exist, to the next week where offense and defense are stellar. It shows me there's communication problems going on somewhere. Northwestern is not consistent in playing on both sides of the ball. Before going further, the pros favor Oregon to defeat Northwestern by 27.5 or 28 points.
Hello, Moto.
The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Oregon this past weekend had amazing offense and defense on all sides. They can go quickly with air raid style of passing, or they can go through walls the defense from other teams have while having their own. Oregon is unique in the chaotic style of play. It helps them to win games. This style should carry over to this game, and Oregon will win big. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this. Oregon will win by 28 points. I will go over the 52. Let's see. Hello to Noah, and hello, Daniel. I appreciate it very much. And yes, hello, Moto. Yes, you heard my phone ring. Sorry about that. I thought I had that taken care of, but I do not. But anyway, the next game we're going to look at this week will be number 12, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. In this game, Clemson is favored by the pros to win this game by 9.5 or 10 points over Georgia Tech. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Georgia Tech last week had above-average offense, which involves some passing. Georgia Tech usually does not pass well, but that theory was proven to be wrong last week. Will that continue this week versus Clemson? No, I don't think so. The run game is generally pretty decent. The defense last week did a superb job in keeping in low-scoring affair. Georgia Tech can do well on defense when they want to. Clemson did okay last week, but certainly not great. The defense looked similar in the intensity they played. Overall, it was average. Clemson between the two teams looks better on paper over Georgia Tech. Clemson needs to do better in getting the ball up the field. Early game struggles make it difficult to predict. If both teams play good defense, the game will be closer than most think. With these thoughts, I will agree on the fact that Clemson will win the game, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction is that Clemson will defeat Georgia Tech by 7 points. I will go under the 52. Georgia Tech needs to play superior if they are to defeat Clemson on offense and defense. Do I think it will happen? No, I do not. Don't count this game out. It will be probably close. Probably more than many people think. Hello, Fluffy. How are you doing today? I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for joining me today, Fluffy. I do greatly appreciate you very much. For those that just joining me, I am live on location at the Veterans Memorial Park in Huntsville, Alabama. We're doing my college football top 25 picks, my perspective. We've already gone over who is in the Associated Press top 25 poll. We've gone over who the matchups are, and now we're just digging a little deeper and doing some analysis within those top 25 teams. So, next game we're going to look at this week is number 3, Oklahoma versus Temple. In this game, the pros favor Oklahoma to defeat Temple by 24.5 or 25 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Thank you very much, Fluffy. I appreciate you subscribing. I do greatly appreciate that. Temple recently has been playing very good on both sides of the ball on offense and defense. In fact, the defense is above average. This will do well for them within the American Conference. Put this up against the Oklahoma team in the Southeastern Conference, and it is not likely will not be enough to help Temple. Oklahoma had slightly above average game on both offense and defense when they played Michigan. Truth of the matter, Oklahoma will give Temple a bad case of the creeps due to a strong conference team within the SEC playing a weaker conference of the American Conference with Temple. Oklahoma is very good at protecting the red zone on defense and scoring often when they get it on offense. So Temple will run the ball and it will help some, but not against the RPO that Oklahoma has. Most teams have a hard time keeping up when Oklahoma runs the RPO. Due to this, Temple will lose this game. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on who wins the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is Oklahoma will defeat Temple by 17 points, and I will go over the 52. All right, so the next game we're going to look at this week is number 19, Alabama versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin, most of the time, is hard to play against due to the brick wall style of defense they play. Offense is above average, but against Alabama is very hard to do, but commendable. The area Wisconsin needs to work on is red zone protection on defense and on offense getting the big plays when it matters. Alabama improved greatly this past week on both offense and defense. Alabama, if they want to win, they can if they manage good to above average defense. The offense can and will take care of itself. The fact this game is at home helps Alabama immensely. Alabama should win this game, but I don't think the margin is as high as it will be. It will be less. The pros favor Alabama to defeat Wisconsin by 20.5 or 21 points. The over-under is 47.5 or 48. My prediction is that Alabama defeats Wisconsin by 9 points. I will go over the 48. Wisconsin didn't really have much to say because, they've been kind of playing a style of football that is unpredictable, and it's very hard to talk about them because you don't know if they're going to be good or not. They generally are good, but I don't think they'll be good enough to beat Alabama. Next game that we're going to look at this week is going to be Michigan versus Central Michigan. In this game, the pros favor Michigan to defeat Central Michigan by 27.5 or 28 points. The over-under is 42.5 or 43. Central Michigan football is below average at best, and that might be just me being nice. They had one win, a struggle win at that, then the next week choked badly by having terrible offense and defense. Central Michigan is not known for being good at football, and it showed last week why this is the case. Late in game, Central Michigan might score some points, but right now they just downright suck at offense, and the defense isn't much better. Central Michigan, with how they play against Michigan, might be the epitome of terrible football. Michigan did not do well against SEC opponent Oklahoma. If they play the teams in their conference, any other conference, it'll usually bode well for them. Michigan is in a slump, which has been going on for a good part of 2 seasons now. This game should be the game that gets them out of their slump, hopefully. I'm not sure if it will be trend or a one-game situation. Historically, Michigan is decent on offense and defense, and I believe that part of their history will carry them through this game. The struggles they have been having recently give me the following thoughts. I agree with the pros on favoring Michigan to win this game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Michigan will defeat Central Michigan by 14 points. I will go over the 43. I don't think the two teams will score a lot of points. I could be totally wrong, but, Michigan has been known to surprise people, and so has Central Michigan. All right, the next game we're going to look at this week is number 24, Auburn versus South Alabama. In this game, the pros favor Auburn to defeat South Alabama by 25.5 or 26 points. The over-under is 53.5 or 54 points. South Alabama had a struggle loss last week, which to me is worse than losing outright. Offense and defense were subpar. The style of play South Alabama uses and play selection might do well within the Sun Belt Conference. South Alabama will have a hard time doing anything versus Auburn. This is despite South Alabama doing well on run plays. In terms of basketball or football, I like basketball better. The art style of play is different, and it's very rhythmic, and it's like actually dancing. Football is kind of predictable. You have a quarterback that does what he's doing. He either passes it or he runs it, and you look for big hits. And I like the art a little better than the other. I just know a lot about college football, and I talk more about college football than I do basketball, even though I like basketball more. So, anyway, let's see. Auburn is faster and has big players. Auburn does have some good options in their RPO that South Alabama does not have. Auburn this past weekend had stellar offense in all areas of the run and in passing. On defense, Auburn was above average in limiting team to 3 points scored. That 3 points was most likely a field goal late in the game. Auburn will most likely be successful in executing the blitz against South Alabama. They don't blitz much, but when they do, it turns out nasty for the other team. South Alabama has strength in long punch, which could help this game from being complete runaway train. With these thoughts, I will agree with the pros on this one. Auburn defeats South Alabama by 26 points. I will go over the 54. All right, next game we're going to look at this week is number 2, Penn State versus Villanova. In football, Villanova is in the FCS AA division of football for Division I. This game will help them get national exposure in ways of good they may not normally. The offense and defense needs work to be effective. Playing a game, all games close like it was last weekend for Villanova is good in their division of play, but not so much when they play powerhouse teams like Penn State. Penn State on defense is like trying to break into a bunker using conventional means. It's not going to work. Penn State is that bunker. Villanova does okay on the short pass. It will get them down the field in some cases, but against Penn State, it will not work. Penn State last week had above-average offense and stellar, superb defense. I see that same trend for this game. Penn State will most likely win this game big over Villanova. No information is available on what the pros say the margin of victory is going to be or the over-under. In this circumstance, I will make my own prediction. Final score, Penn State 49, Villanova 7. I'm being generous to Villanova when I give them the 7. I would not be surprised if Penn State shuts them out for the goose egg. So, yeah. I think the goose egg is very well possible for Villanova, but 7 points might be generous in terms of how much they get to score, and that'll probably be late in the game. So we shall see. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 6, Georgia, versus number 15, Tennessee. In this game, the pros favor Georgia to defeat Tennessee by 7 points. The over-under is 49.5 or 50. Georgia in their game versus Austin Peay had offense that was pretty average. The first half of that game was complete offensive struggle that should not have been. Later on, they figured stuff out, but should have done better in the final score. Defense was average, but seemed subpar at times. The score should represent above average defense, but both teams and both sides on defense played sloppy to the point of being terrible. The score does not reflect this, but should. Georgia, outside of this, usually has strong defense. Offense needs work, but in ways that seem hard to explain other than what's absolutely necessary. The talent for Georgia isn't like it used to be, but hopefully it gets figured out. Tennessee is good in the red zone protection on defense, but not so much in offense. Offense for Tennessee looks good on paper. I'm having issues due to sloppiness on both sides. That in and of itself will make this a close game. I do agree with the pros on having Georgia win this game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. So my prediction will be Georgia will defeat Tennessee by 4 points, and I'll go over the 50. All right. Next game we're going to look at today is number 21, Texas Tech versus Oregon State. In this game, the pros favor Texas Tech to defeat Oregon State by 24.5 or 25 points. The over-under is 61.5 or 62. Oregon State recently has been downright terrible on defense and subpar on offense. From the way they are playing, it seems like they don't know the concept of defense. They get in trouble by getting backed up either by penalties or the quarterback getting sacked. This matchup reminds me of the battles with Shredder and the Ninja Turtles. Oregon State also needs to work on communication. The only glimmer of hope I see is their ability to long punt the ball. Everything else is either terrible or downright sucks. This goes for both offense and defense. Texas Tech plays up-tempo offense and scores quickly. On defense, it is a little bit below average due to allowing some big plays. Texas Tech offense is stellar right now. I see the trend continuing with this game. Texas Tech will make this game Nightmare on Elm Street for Oregon State. For this game, Texas Tech is the Ninja Turtles and Oregon State is the Shredder. Shredder always loses to the Ninja Turtles. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. Texas Tech defeats Oregon State by 25 points, and I will go under the 62. No, I'm not really that good at doing tricks with basketballs and stuff. I'm really not that good at that. One day I could see about trying to do something like that and then maybe doing a video on that if I'm able, but I don't know if that's going to be something I can do right away. But when it gets closer to basketball season, I'll look into the possibility of that and see what happens, okay? Thank you for the suggestion, Buffy. I do appreciate it. All right. Next game we're going to look at today, or this week, is number 14, Iowa State versus Arkansas State. In this matchup of college football, the pros favor Iowa State to defeat Arkansas State by 20.5 or 21 points. The over-under is 55.5 or 56. Arkansas State in their last game had terrible offense and could not do much. Defense is downright terrible, and it looks like someone being spaghettified into a black hole. From that, there's no escape, and it looks like that trend continues this week for Arkansas State. Iowa State has 2 struggle wins by the common denominator of 3 being in the margin of victory. They have had in 2 of their 3 games played so far. True, they have played tougher teams. I think since it's easier opponent this week for Iowa State, that they will win by a bigger margin. Iowa State has average to slightly below average offense and defense. This is much better than the black hole shape Arkansas State will be in this game. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this one. Iowa State will defeat Arkansas State by 21 points. I will go over the 56. All right, the next game we're going to look at this week is number 25, Missouri versus Louisiana. In this game, the pros favor Missouri to defeat Louisiana by 25.5 or 26 points. The over-under is 49.5 or 50. Louisiana has average offense and average defense. The style of play can work well in the Sun Belt Conference, but not against an SEC team like Missouri. Red zone protection, or at least their version of it, is not there. I believe this continues for Louisiana. Offense is going to have to do something with deep pass action, or it will be another one bites the dust, as Queen sings about. Missouri at the moment has above average offense, but has to do better on the pass plays in order to be successful. The defense is below average due to allowing opponents to score way too many points. Last week, they were very good at stopping plays from the line of scrimmage, especially late in the game. Special teams from Missouri can make up for slightly bad defense. Not much else to say on this game. I do agree that Missouri wins the game, as the pros have also picked, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction is that Missouri defeats Louisiana by 14 points. I will go over the 50. All right, the next game we're going to look at this week is number 7, Texas versus UTEP. In this game, the pros favor Texas to defeat UTEP by 41.5 or 42 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. And for those that do not know what UTEP stands for, that is the University of Texas in El Paso. UTEP right now has average offense, especially in the passing. The run is okay, but it does need work. On defense, it is near average on all areas except for red zone protection. That area needs work. Texas is coming off a good game versus San Jose State. Offense is above average as well as their defense. Above average on offense and defense will present big problematic issue for UTEP. Texas historically is patient on offense and is very hard to stop on defense. UTEP has one useful thing that can be advantage, that is their special teams. They have one of the best special teams I have seen in quite some time. The thing is, I don't think that will still bode well against Texas. The only way UTEP has a shot at winning is if they somehow get by the defensive brick wall we call Texas football. I truly think UTEP will lose big to Texas. I agree with the pros on having Texas to defeat UTEP, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction is that Texas will defeat UTEP by 25 points. I will go under the 52. Next game we're going to look at this week will be number 5, Miami in Florida versus number 18, South Florida. In this game, the pros favor Miami in Florida to defeat South Florida by 16.5 or 17 points. The over-under for this game is 55.5 or 56. Both of these teams know how to show others what defense is, at least the concept of what defense is. South Florida, despite a struggle win at Florida last week, has proven they are worthy of being ranked due to beating 2 top 25 ranked teams in a row back-to-back to start their season. Offense, despite the struggle win, was flat and needs help in order to win. Defense was average due to the fact they kept Southeastern Conference team at bay with scoring and did beat a formidable foe. This team will always give top-tier teams nagging trouble. A lot of teams have real struggles with them, even though they should not, but yet they do. Miami in Florida also is known for great defense. Offense looks better than average, but defense for both teams is the wild card. It will come down to who protects the perimeter better along with the red zone. In this case, I believe Miami and Florida will do better in defense to win this game. For these reasons, I again agree with the pros on having Miami or Florida to win this game, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction, Miami will win the game by 13 points over South Florida. I will go over the 56. Long punting by both teams along with possible fireworks from special teams on both sides could make this game more interesting, but despite that, I will stick with my original prediction for this game. All right, the next game we're going to look at today will be number 1, Ohio State versus Ohio University. In this game, the pros favor Ohio State to defeat Ohio University by 31.5 or 32 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Ohio University has a common denominator in the 2 games played so far, which is struggle. A struggle loss, the worst kind of loss, and a struggle win. In both of the games, it seems there is no cohesion or communication. It's better to win outright or to lose outright. From what I see, offense sucks due to not being able to get down the field, and defense also sucks due to lack of perimeter protection and protecting the red zone. If this style of play resumes like I think it will in this game, it will be a complete disaster for Ohio University. Ohio State is on top of the world right now with stellar offense and defense. They do it all very well on offense. The short pass, the deep ball pass, long punting on special teams. On defense has a brick wall style where no one can get through the lines, the perimeter, or score for defense in the red zone. Not much else to really say on this game. And for those reasons, I will agree with the pros on this one. Ohio State will defeat Ohio University by 32 points. I will go over the 52. I think Ohio State may also possibly shut out Ohio University, and that truly is a real possibility. I think there's a higher likelihood of Ohio State causing Ohio University to lose with a goose egg, 0, than it would be for them to score points. But points are possible to be scored by Ohio University over Ohio State, and I still believe Ohio State will win big over Ohio University. All right. Well, I hope you have a good day, Buffy. Thank you for joining me today. It is greatly appreciated. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 9, Illinois versus Western Michigan. The pros in this game favor Illinois to defeat Western Michigan by 27.5 or 28 points. Western Michigan has terrible offense due to the other team scoring way too many points. They have 2 losses, including a struggle loss, which again is the worst kind. Western Michigan needs to go back to football 101 in all areas, especially defense. To Western Michigan, defense is a concept they do not understand. To put it simply, their football team sucks. This terrible state of play will continue this week against Illinois. Illinois dominates both on offense and on defense in all areas. They do well protecting red zone. In defense, on offense, they do well in run or pass plays and superb on the RPO. Really not much else to say on this game. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this one. Illinois will defeat Western Michigan by 28 points. The over-under is 50.5 or 51, and I will go over the 51. Next game we're going to look at this week is going to be number 17, Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Arkansas really hasn't played anyone impressive, so I don't know how to give proper analysis on them. They seem good on the offense and defense in the game they have. They can play well when they play it. Arkansas is known for causing every team they play trouble. This is especially true for conference games within the Southeastern Conference. Arkansas plays the football game like organized chaos. Sometimes it helps them to win, other times it causes them to lose. Ole Miss is a team that plays well through 3 quarters and then slows the gas down. Ole Miss had a decent lead for most of the game, but almost lost the game last week to Kentucky due to complacency on both offense and defense. I see the same thing happening this week. It's time for a monkey wrench. For these reasons, I will completely disagree with the pros on this one. The pros favor Ole Miss to defeat Arkansas by 8.5 or 9 points. The over-under is 50.5 or 51. So, in complete disagreement with the pros, I predict as underdog Arkansas to defeat Ole Miss by 4 points. I will go over the 51. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 3, LSU versus Florida. In this game, the pros favor LSU to defeat Florida by 9.5 or 10 points. The over-under is 54.5 or 55. Florida last week sucked royally on both offense and defense over South Florida. Offense either kept getting penalized, turning the ball over, or having to punt a lot. It also looked like there were issues with communication on the field and on the sidelines. The way things are going right now, I see similar issues with Florida in playing LSU. LSU did struggle most of last game on offense, but got it together and won by a decent margin. The rush needs work, but with tweaking, we'll be fine. Defense looked good. If the same style of defense is used in this game, I see no problem in picking LSU to win. Everything else looks good for LSU to win this game. I do think that this game will be closer than predicted. For these reasons, I do agree on the pros picking LSU to win the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that LSU will win the game by 6 points. I will go over the 55. All right, the next game we're going to look at this week is number 8, Notre Dame versus number 16, Texas A&M. In this game, the pros favor Notre Dame to defeat Texas A&M by 6.5 or 7 points. The over-under is 49.5 or 50. A thing to note, Texas A&M has established a predictable pattern over the last 2 games. That common predictor is 66. That's how many total points that the combined score was between both teams in the games they played over the last 2 weeks. 42-24 win over UTSA, which is the University of Texas in San Antonio, or the next one, 49-22 over Utah State. 44-22 over Utah State, sorry. This predictability makes it hard to fix the issues of good offense and defense. This space-time continuum makes average seem like an oxymoron. This predictable form of average makes teams like Notre Dame more likely to do complete opposite of what is expected. All Doctor Who jokes aside, Texas A&M has holes to fill. If they don't do it, this game could go sideways quickly. Notre Dame is below average on the pass game, long or short, but makes up for it in the rush. On defense, they do great red zone protection. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. Notre Dame defeats Texas A&M by 7 points. I will go over the 50. All right. Next game we will look at this week will be South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. In this game, the pros favor South Carolina to defeat Vanderbilt by 5.5 or 6 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. Vanderbilt did have impressive win over Virginia Tech last week. They did very well on offense in the rush game, but not so much in the short passes. They did not long pass much, but was semi-successful when doing so. Defense looks average and did a good job in holding the line. The problem for Vanderbilt is too many holes for defense to get through on run plays or rush plays. This bodes to be a problem for Vanderbilt with their game versus South Carolina. South Carolina is excellent on defense on all fronts, little to no holes, and even when they do, they close up very quickly. The same cannot be said for Vanderbilt. South Carolina is not known for passing the ball, but are doing great there and with the rush also. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. South Carolina defeats Vanderbilt by 6 points. I will go over the 49. The last game we will look at within the top 25 this week will be number 20, Utah versus Wyoming. In this game, the pros favor Utah to win this game over Wyoming by 22.5 or 23 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. Wyoming right now is showing stellar defense within the Mountain West Conference. Offense is slightly above average on both the pass game and the run game. They do okay on short pass plays, but not so much involving deep ball plays. Utah is doing superb in all areas on both sides of the ball. Plus, they are in tougher Big 12 conference. There's not much to say on this game. Utah plays the game with organized chaos. That chaos can be fast or slow, but so unpredictable. It works well for Utah, especially when they run any version of their RPO plays. This style of play makes it seem like for Utah to win. I do agree with the pros favoring Utah to win this game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Utah will defeat Wyoming by 14 points. I will go over the 49. Now is the time for the segment I like to call the Game of Intrigue. In this Game of Intrigue, neither team is ranked within the top 25. I will do what I can to find things that relate both schools together. This can be sports related or not. After the relation thing, I will go through similar process as with the top 25 matchups. I will look at what the pros say the point spread or margin of victory will be. Then, if I agree or disagree with the pros, I'll do the best I can to explain my reasoning. This week, the Game of Intrigue is Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Again, both teams are not in the top 25. Both schools are located within the state of Virginia and about 250 miles apart from each other. Both universities are at least 95 years old. Both universities have a great deal of learning about logistics in pertaining to military or technology matters. Both universities also have strong emphasis on interdisciplinary studies. Outside of how these schools are related, outside of sports, let's dig deeper for this game. The pros favor Virginia Tech to defeat Old Dominion by 7.5 or 8 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Old Dominion has below average defense due to the fact on one game they allowed too many points to be scored on in Game 1. In Game 2, despite winning big against an FCS team, it still looked like they had issues with protecting the perimeter. Even though little points were scored by who they played last week, they still allowed way too many big plays down the field. The saving grace was in defending from 40 yards in 40 yards and up, and did not allow plays to be made. If Old Dominion does this, I still expect them to be the margin will not be very high. Virginia Tech has played quality opponents against SEC conference teams. Neither came was what I would call close. The struggle is real for Virginia Tech, and Old Dominion has very good opportunity to take advantage of Virginia Tech with their issues and due to the fact Old Dominion can play good defense sometimes. I also think this game may be too close to call, and I'm going to go against my better judgment on this one. I'm going to disagree completely with the pros on this game. My prediction is that Old Dominion will defeat Virginia Tech by 4 points. I will go under the 52. Okay, so now you have the top 25 matchups and the Game of Intrigue. So let's do a quick summary, going over again who is in the AP poll top 25 and the top 25 matchups. So let's go back over who is in the Associated Press top 25 poll this week. So in the AP poll top 25 poll this week, we have number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Penn State, number 3, LSU, number 4, Oregon, number 5, Miami, number 6, Georgia, number 7, Texas, number 8, Notre Dame, number 9, Illinois, number 10, Florida State, and I believe Florida State has a bye week this week, so they're not listed in the analysis. Number 11, South Carolina, number 12, Clemson, number 13, Oklahoma, number 14, Iowa State, number 15, Tennessee, number 16, Texas A&M, number 17, Ole Miss, number 18, South Florida, number 19, Alabama, number 20, Utah, number 21, Texas Tech, number 22, Indiana, number 23, Michigan, number 24, Auburn, number 25, Missouri. Now, the top 25 matchups this week for week 3, which are games that should start yesterday, September 8th, and will go through September 14th. There were no games yesterday, so that part really doesn't matter, but week 3 is for that time period. Anyway, in the top 25 matchups, you have number 22, Indiana versus Indiana State. That game is September 12th, 2025 on Friday. All the other games I mentioned will be Saturday, September 13th, 2025. And with that, you have number 4, Oregon versus Northwestern. Number 13, Oklahoma versus Temple. Number 19, Alabama versus Wisconsin. Number 23, Michigan versus Central Michigan. Number 24, Auburn versus South Alabama. Number 2, Penn State versus Villanova. Number 15, Tennessee versus number 6, Georgia. Number 21, Texas Tech versus Oregon State. Number 14, Iowa State versus Arkansas State. Number 25, Missouri versus Louisiana. Number 7, Texas versus UTEP. Number 5, Miami in Florida versus number 18, South Florida. Number 1, Ohio State versus Ohio University. Number 9, Illinois versus Western Michigan. Number 17, Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Number 3, LSU versus Florida. Number 8, Notre Dame versus number 16, Texas A&M. Number 11, South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. Number 20, Utah versus Wyoming. Number 13, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. And the game of intrigue this week was Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Now, let's go over who else will be playing in college football this week. And all this is who will be playing in college football. There will be no additional analysis, but here are who is going to be playing in college football this week. On Thursday, September 11th, you have NC State versus Wake Forest, 6:30 p.m. Central. Actually, I won't even go over those times either, so that don't matter much. On September 12th, you have Colgate versus Syracuse, Colorado versus Houston, Kansas State versus Arizona, New Mexico versus UCLA. All other games from here on out will be on September 13th, which is Saturday. Outside of the games that I've done analysis on, you have Houston Christian versus Nebraska, Towson versus Maryland, William and Mary versus Virginia, Samford versus Baylor, Memphis versus Troy, Buffalo versus Kent State, New Hampshire versus Ball State, UConn versus Delaware. You have Norfolk State versus Rutgers, Youngstown State versus Michigan State, Washington State versus North Texas, SMU versus Missouri State, Pittsburgh versus West Virginia, Richmond versus North Carolina, Northwestern State versus Cincinnati, Incarnate Word versus the UTSA, Michigan State versus Toledo, Liberty versus Bowling Green, Middle Tennessee versus Nevada, Alcorn State versus Mississippi State, Florida Atlantic versus Florida International, Merrimack versus Kennesaw State, Eastern Kentucky versus Marshall, Monmouth versus Charlotte, Jacksonville State versus Georgia Southern, Murray State versus Georgia State, Appalachian State, or commonly called App State, versus Southern Miss, Prairie View A&M versus Rice, Eastern Michigan versus Kentucky, Massachusetts versus Iowa, New Mexico State versus Louisiana Tech. Let's see. You'll have East Carolina versus Coastal Carolina, Duke versus Tulane, Abilene Christian versus TCU, Navy versus Tulsa, Akron versus UAB, Air Force versus Utah State, Southern versus Fresno State, Minnesota versus California, Boston College versus Stanford, Texas State versus Arizona State, Portland State versus Hawaii. So there you have it. That's the rest of who is playing each other in college football for week 3. Thank you again for tuning in to this live stream today. I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. We will be doing these college football live streams every Tuesday for most of the rest of college football season. There may be a few exceptions here or there, but it will generally be on Tuesdays. Now, I'm not sure of what time they will be on Tuesdays, but it could be any time on Tuesday when I do the live stream for the college football picks, the AP poll top 25 picks, my perspective. So those will take place every Tuesday, and I have plans to cover regular season games, conference championship games, playoff games, and bowl games. I know that's a lot to talk about, but we will be covering that for college football season. So please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I'm covering, when I'm doing live streams like I'm doing right now, when I have sports action videos, when I have sports education videos, again, when I broadcast live, or when I have breaking news in the sports world. Also, if you wish to subscribe to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated if you do, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. To do so, there are 2 ways to do it. One, you go to www.youtube.com, the slash symbol, the @ symbol, SPORTSLOV, or you can go on the YouTube search tab and type in Sportslov Media. That's 2 words, SPORTSLOV, 1 word, then the second word, media, MEDIA. You'll know it's me because I have Sportslov Media burned into a basketball as my avatar. I'm also on Twitter X. My handle there is @BobAmin16. That is the @ symbol, BOBAMIN 16. Thank you again for tuning in to this live stream today. I am broadcasting live on location from Veterans Memorial Park in Huntsville, Alabama. Does anybody have any questions or comments before I log out for this live stream? Well, if there's no questions, thank you again for tuning in. Sportslov Media signing out. Have a wonderful day.